Hello again, welcome back to the channel. So I placed an order on the 5th of April for the mylar inserts for the Intellivision. I'll put a link to the video, and they finally shown up. I believe it was very quick actually. It was only, I think I got them before the 10th, so yeah, very fast indeed. So we'll have a closer look at these and then we'll see. If I grab a couple out here, see how they go at fitting them. So there we go. Right, we'll see how they work. Okay, so this is what you get in the kit. You basically get the mylar insert, you get the keypad, and you get like a cover as well. Obviously I've got two sets because I bought it for two controllers, so just fairly easy this part. Take the top off, controller, spring, then just got to take these two, the 5 buttons out either side. So that's the old mylar there. Again, you can see Mattel, copyright 1979, and this is a new one. Obviously doesn't have any of that copyright or anything on it because this is a third-party one. So originally when I got these as well, I was wondering why there's this big sponge in the top right hand corner. Originally I was going to rip that off, and then I realized that's actually what is used to hold the connections down onto the wire connections. It's literally a wedge of foam to hold that connection together as you put the top of the controller on. So getting these together is a little bit fiddly. As you can see, you've got to line these. Basically there's like a little hole at the top and a little hole at the bottom, which line up to a peg. On older ones it would probably be easier to put these back in again because obviously they're already bent in the right position and everything, whereas this, as you can see, came flat, so I've had to bend it in the right location. Just got to put the clear part on. And as you can see, it's a bit difficult really. It's like trying to get 3 or 4 bits of paper, fold them over, get them to meet up with these pegs. It can be a little bit tricky. It's not as straightforward as you kind of think it's going to be. And also the other thing I noticed with these controllers, again when I was looking up about this, a lot of them mention about a white washer or a clear washer at the bottom on the pad itself, on the control pad, the joystick part. And the old ones didn't have it, but it does look like there was a dust circle, so they might have had them at one point and somebody's taken them out. This new kit doesn't come with any of them at all. So again, I was just going to try it, see if anyone knows why they need to be in there. Please leave me a comment and I can cut some up and put some in there if they are essential, but from what I can see at the moment they don't seem to be all that critical. Because there is a kind of, where it folds over on the controller part, there is a kind of a ring, an outer ring, which kind of separates the two parts, stop them from hitting each other. So I don't know whether it's just to give it a little bit more support in the middle maybe. But as I say, if anyone knows if there's a good reason to put them in, then please let me know, and obviously I'll add them in. So again, got the new keypad in here now. Just got to slide these in, and sliding these in actually holds everything in position quite nicely. So then you can get the top cover back on again. So again, just making sure they're in the right position. Folding that down a little bit as well so it goes where it needs to go. So spring, actual controller itself, and then the top cover. And now if you compare, that left hand one is obviously the reproduction, the right hand one's the original. So you can see it's a pretty faithful reproduction. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the two, I don't think anyway. Looking at them, they look pretty identical. So now just put the screws in for this one. That's all pretty good. Now do the same to the right hand side one. So again, just cleaning the contacts up on that one, because this one last time I didn't open at all, so this is just left it exactly as is. So yeah, just cleaning them contacts up a little bit. Bend them up also. So again, over the years they're obviously bending down, so I'm just gently bending them back up again to make sure they're going to make a good contact with the mylar surface there. Just get the front cover, put that on, and we're good to go on that one. Putting in the thing for lock and chase here. As you can see, none of the buttons are working, which isn't a good start. So yeah, can't get the game to start at all. Tried both controllers. So if you want, you can continue watching here and get to see all the fault finding process that I went through to find the solution, or if you want, just skip to the number that's on the screen right now, the minutes and seconds, and that will take you to the final solution, because it is a bit of a rabbit hole I go down here now to try and work it out. So first thing I do, take out the controller. So I've got one good controller from another Intellivision, and as you see, when I press the button, we're getting about 28 ohms. When I do it on the new mylar one, I am still getting a connection, but I'm getting 84 ohms, and you can hear it's not even enough to trigger the bell itself. So at this point I'm thinking, is it a resistance thing? These new mylars obviously are just that have a higher resistance. Is it just not giving it enough to make a contact? So even though it's making a contact as such, it's not making a proper contact on there. So again, took it apart, just made sure everything was fitted in there correctly. This is on the first controller here. Again, like I say, these are new, they weren't bent properly. I just want to make sure I haven't damaged anything when I put them in, but everything seemed fairly good. So again, just testing it again, and resistance has gone up even higher now, so now I'm getting 117. However, what I later found out was this was down to the fact that had the cover off. When the cover's on, for some reason it lowers the resistance. Again, just checking out the tracks on there, just make sure everything is connected where it should be. I haven't broken a track or something. Just making sure there's no breaks in the cable as well. And my next thought was, well, to lower the resistance, I bought some of this conductive paint. Now this is my old mylar that I'm trying this out on. So the idea is just to paint some of it on, but as you can see, it's quite a heavy conductive paint here. So to try and paint it all like that, so what I thought was I'll put a little bit on and just wipe it over, just smear it around and see if that helps it at all. And to be fair, it does kind of clean the contacts a little bit. But ultimately, as you can see, it doesn't really do much for the resistance. So again, this was a bit of a no-go. That's why I thought I'd just try it on the scrap one anyway. So that's the first pin. So then my next thinking was, is it something, I'm looking at the controllers because obviously that's what I've touched. Is it something in here, like is one of these not making a good enough connection? And even though I'm getting the screen up, is it just not doing something properly, so it's not giving it enough voltage or whatever, so it's not enough to actually get the game started? So again, just put a little bit of solder there. I noticed that joint seemed to be a bit hit and miss when I was belling it out. Sometimes it would bell out lovely, sometimes it wouldn't. So again, just putting a little bit of solder on the top and the bottom. Just went over the other points as well just to make sure, because again, when I was looking it up, a lot of people were saying there could be a potential problem with that ribbon cable. Nope, still getting nothing. Still not getting anything. That's what I just said. So my next thought was clean the cartridge port. Again, I've heard a lot of people say it will just freeze on that title screen if that's not correct. So I'm just using some contact cleaner there. Again, just putting a cartridge in a couple of times just to kind of see if any dirt comes out. Using a cotton wool bud here. And you can see there is a little bit of dirt on there, so it definitely does use a little bit of a clean up. It's got this tissue. Put some isopropyl alcohol on the side, just use that, put some isopropyl alcohol straight into the port itself, just to give it a good old clean up, make sure I got every bit of dirt out of there, see if that'll make a difference. Again, just checking some of the points on the cartridge port, make sure that's all good, and that does seem to be okay. Again, getting nothing on the controller at all. So it's at this point here, I had a moment of inspiration. Why don't I try? So that is the good controller, bad lead, good console. Okay, let's see what we got. So 0 works, 9 works, 8 works, 7 works, 6 works, 5 works, 4 works, 3 works, 2 works, 1 works, enter works. So this is the good lead that came from this console originally, the bad controller with a new membrane in it. Well, that looks good. 0 clear, 8 clear, 7 clear, 6 clear, 5 clear, 3 clear, 2 clear, 1 clear. Right. So now I know both of the controllers, the one with the new membrane and the one, the old, basically the lead, I know both the leads are good now. Both the controllers are good. So my next protocol was to swap over the boards themselves. So I've got the main board from the Intellivision that doesn't seem to be working correctly, but obviously I'm using the RF board from the good console, I'm using the power supply from the good console and the transformer from the goods console. Good working case, good working power supply, all this that's all good working. This is the board from the bad unit, the one where the controllers won't work. So let's see what we get. Okay. Okay.
Right, so 0 works, 9 works, 8 works, 7 works, 6 works, 5 works, 2 works, 1 works. Right, 1 player. Yeah, that's all good.
So now I thought I'd start swapping boards over, but obviously not to get confused. I found some of this Christmas tape and I thought it's as good a thing as any to mark the board up. So now this is one of the boards from the other, well, I'm going to call it the bad console, but it's the one where the controllers aren't working. Bad board. Mark this one up so we know this is the bad board as well. This is our bad board. Right. So, bad board from the bad unit. Interesting. It's come up blue. What's that about? Okay. Slight palette swap. So again, there's obviously something wrong with that particular unit, the fact that it swapped the colours out. Bad board. So again, just trying another board, just trying the power board from the old unit. So right now the only thing different from the good unit to the bad unit is the transformer, and now I've just swapped the transformer as well because that was all working. So now with all the bad components, I'm not buying that for a second. Right. Oh, so now you're all working, huh? Right. So now I've got everything from the previous bad unit where the controllers wasn't working at all, but now it's all working, and the only thing that's different is the plastic case underneath. So unless that's a magical plastic case, that's not the solution. There's something else going on here. Just thought I'd try a different game as well, just to see if that made a difference. But again, still working fine. Everything's working. Side 5 buttons are working okay. So the other thing I realized was I was using the original Player 2 controller from the good system, plugging it into the bad board. So I thought, let me just get the second controller from the bad board, try it in that, see if it's all still working. Interest. It's this controller. This controller is duff. This controller is the problem. Right, at least we got to the bottom of it anyway. What's doing it? So, I power it off. Like that. So this is the one we need to look at. So again, when I open this up, you'll see there's nothing different between that and the first controller, but for whatever reason, something must have been shorting out in here. So all I'm going to do now is open it up, just check, make sure the mylar's good in there. But again, bear that in mind if you're ever doing an Intellivision yourself and you're pressing the buttons and nothing's working, it could just be one of the controllers are faulty. So it is well worth taking both the controllers off, trying them one at a time, because it could just be as simple as that. I mean, I thought it could be the cartridge pull. I started going off at a tangent. Logically, when you find the solution, you're like, of course, I've changed that particular one as well, but I didn't think that could cause an issue the way it had caused an issue there, preventing it from working. I just thought if I'm not touching controller 2, that shouldn't be a problem, but obviously it was. It must have been shorting out one of the buttons or something. And again, I wonder if that is why that white discs are in there. But as you'll see, when I put this controller back together again, it works fine, and both of them have been working fine ever since. So again, I honestly can't see what I did wrong putting it together, but I must have done something. There must have just been something shorting out, causing that issue. So because it's constantly pressing the button, it's preventing it from reading any of the other button presses. But I'm glad I actually found it, because it's never good when you kind of fix something but you don't know how you fixed it or why you fixed it or what's happened, that why all of a sudden it is now working. And sometimes it could be something like you've hit a particular chip or something, and that's caused it because you don't necessarily know you've hit that particular chip. That's what's been causing the problem. So I just thought I'd try this one out. And again, I'm getting about 87. This is the new mylar again on controller 2. But if I use the other one, just thought I'd try my other continuity tester here. So this one just does continuity and voltage. It's fairly basic. Doesn't give you any resistance or anything. But you can see them button presses are enough for it to actually activate the buzzer in there. Okay. So I wanted to give this a try. I think we're all good here. Alright. Let's try. Cool. So let's make sure this one's working. 8, 7, 6. Yeah, so that's it. A fully working Intellivision now with these two new mylar inserts. So all the buttons are working, everything's working lovely now. So just check the second one, make sure. But yeah, everything's good. So again, just bear that in mind. Sometimes you can go off on a real tangent when it comes to doing fault finding on these things. When if I'd have just thought about it a little bit, obviously the two things I've touched, because I'm paying more attention to the first controller, completely forgot that I've changed the mylar in the second controller, and that's what's caused the issue. So with that, hopefully this helps somebody, and I will see you next time.